All right, so since we're doing that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of a special episode, because this particular episode, I think we're going to cross stream. This is going to be the 757 Renaissance Man meets LVAD Talk, and I'm sitting here talking to my boy John Stratton. You guys may be familiar with Mr. Stratton from the LVAD Talk podcast because he came on as John Stratton, perfusionist. But now we're going to have a conversation with John Stratton, the man. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
So if anybody has caught the last couple minutes of us talking, this is how me and you communicate, and this is how we get down. We're both. I always embrace the term blurred or black nerd, and like it or not, bro, you won.
I'm definitely one. I'm definitely one. A multi nerd, a uber nerd.
Right. So, first of all, happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, just turned 54 today.
Black don't crack. So how's it feel? Do you feel, 54 or?
I feel fantastic. I've been doing a lot of self-fixing, physically, been working out, got a personal trainer, changed my diet, made some changes in my life. I'm more interested in being more relaxed. I got a very intense job, and it's getting to the point now where I just need to, level things out, not work quite as much. The 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks are beginning to wear down on me. I like to focus more on Medimaterials and some of the products that we'd like to introduce to the market besides the undervest. But in the meantime, I've just been, feeling great.
So it's many layers to John Stratton. We have the perfusionist, we have the entrepreneur, we have the Renaissance man. Where do we begin?
I don't know. This is your show. You tell me what you want me to talk about. What's on your mind?
So with John, you guys got to realize he is an incredible person, but extremely humble. So it's hard to have these conversations with John.
I tell you what. A little bit about me. I've always been a nerd, but I come from a family of nerds and artists, and it's nothing for me to get in the lab, whether it's the kitchen, the yard, or whatever it is, and come up with new stuff and try to, if it's cooking, if it's, inventing something or studying or whatever. I just love to keep my mind going. And lately I've been able to do some stuff that's actually helped people. So that's why there's many layers. I get bored and I want to just keep on doing these new things. And I got some stuff looking forward to doing this year. So one of the things that I do every 5 years, when I turn 49, that whole year leading up to becoming 50, I did something fantastic every month. So that in 2017, when I turned 50, that whole previous year, I had traveled all over the world and, done some stuff with my wife and my friends, and my grandson was born, and it was a great year. So it's 5 years later, I'm 54 today, leading up to my 55th. I plan on doing something very similar. But it's going to be more internal stuff, health-wise, physically, feeling better, being pain-free, having great mobility, being stronger. And of course, with me, the mental and spiritual aspects are always involved. So this is the year of me.
Nice.
Yeah.
John is one of those friends. You are one of those friends that you keep me on my toes. because I turn around, I'm like, oh shoot, John is brewing beer now. So now I gotta push it. Oh shoot, John is traveling now. Now we gotta go somewhere.
Well, that's what it's all about.
But the
Growing
later,
up,
John then pulled out the grill. So here we go.
but I mean, isn't it fun though? I'm saying, and I'm inspired by a lot of my friends and people that I run into. They do interesting things, and it's like, hey, I want to try that too. And sometimes, things stick. The whole home brewing thing, that was a lot of fun when I was doing it. But I was doing it before we had all these breweries popping up everywhere.
Right, yeah.
Mm.
But that's part of being a Renaissance man because you were ahead of your time.
So this term Renaissance man, my father was a true Renaissance man.
Okay.
When he was around because he was, and I think you know it's difficult to be one in today's society because technology has just gone in all kinds of different directions. It's very difficult to grasp everything that's happening nowadays with all of the tech going on. And then but I appreciate the sentiment. I appreciate the compliment.
Now, I don't think being a Renaissance man is dead. I just think it's one of those things that you gotta try to casually do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because if you're
yeah. It's
trying too
just
hard, then you're not really a Renaissance man. It has
well,
to
yeah,
kind of
and
be.
it's just it's natural curiosity.
Hmm.
You can't know a lot of stuff unless you're interested in a lot of stuff,
Hmm.
right?
Exactly.
So it becomes casual because it is casual because you're just a curious person and you just want to find out, and then you when you are interested in things, you actually retain the information.
I think the
So
difference
I,
from a regular man though and a Renaissance man is a regular man will let you tell him about it. A Renaissance man is going to find out for himself. Whatever that
well,
may be research, be traveling, be visiting, just tasting.
yeah, yeah, and that's where the interest comes in. You have to be interested in the stuff to go figure it out and go learn about it. You have to actually, want to acquire the information. And you're right, and especially in today's society, everybody is interested in quick little sound bites.
Hmm.
If you want to have a theological discussion, on social media, that's just a joke because everybody wants a one or two sentence answer to some of the most perplexing and complex philosophical questions that the world's ever known. But you can't do it real quick. So people who uh, are really curious about things, who really want to know, they take the time to actually get into the minutia to really understand and learn what it is that the topic they're interested in. Um, so I think that is what kind of separates people. And it's basically exactly the same thing what you just said. That's the person who is a Renaissance person. It's not just uh, satisfied with being told something,
Hmm.
right? He or she wants to know, well, who's the source? Well, what was their, well, why did they do it? Did they do the experiment the right way? I mean, are they paying for it because they're trying to convince you to buy some product from them or something like that? So, uh, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, man. So okay, we could talk about so many subjects.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
try to keep it on track, and one of the reasons I invited you here is I wanted, especially for my LVAD community, John is doing a lot of good works to help it so we can be more comfortable and live our lives more like quote unquote regular people. Even though everybody knows this, LVAD ain't never stopped me. But John has started a company called Medimaterials, and true transparency. Um, During my adventures with the LVAD, me and John have sparked a friendship, and for a lot of times I help test some of his products. So we got to say
Mhm.
that so people know, up front, we
Oh
ain't
yeah,
trying to
well,
scam nobody.
that's the beauty of it. When when we began the LVAD program at Norfolk General Hospital, at the Heart Hospital, there was a commitment uh, for the cardiac program to do that first year to do 50 LVADs. And at the time, it was only perfusionists who knew anything about these kind of devices. So none of the nurses throughout the hospital or anybody knew what was going on. And it took several years before the emergency department, the advanced heart failure department, and all the nurses in the different ICUs became familiar with LVAD patients and their equipment. But prior to that, it was all us, and there were only 8 or 9 of us, and we had to, we knew all of our LVAD patients. You were one of them, of course, and if you had to go to the emergency room, they called us. We had to get up and meet you in the emergency room. If you came to the clinic, they called us. We had to go to the clinic and interrogate your devices. And back then, we got to know all of you. You were our friends. We saw you every day. And one of the things early on that bothered me was that the equipment that came with the device was pretty uncomfortable. You had that LVAD bag, which I hate. Or you had the little uncomfortable vest that you would put your equipment in, a little holster.
Which I
And so,
never ever used.
so if you remember, I used to always encourage our LVAD patients to go online, because I found some other people that made some, who were LVAD patients who made little shirts and whatever. That seemed, one guy had a leather vest, this lady, Bosco.
Right.
I used to always send people to her because she would make a vest with pockets in it for people to carry their equipment. So my so-called competition now, I used to send everybody to them because the whole point was to have my patients feel more comfortable. But what happened, we began to have a string of driveline fractures with an old Thortec, the one that you have. And the drive lines would get frayed, and if they really got damaged, we would have to do a whole reoperation, take out the old device, put in a new device, and, people were being readmitted and in the hospital for weeks, recuperating. So I came up with the Driveline Protector. It was very good. It worked well, but for some reason, it didn't really take off. People didn't see the value of it. We had a patient whose driveline got caught in the car door. They slammed the car door on the driveline, and the person, passed away. We had another guy who one of our patients who was in his recliner, and his driveline got caught in the hinge of the chair, and when he sat up, it partially severed the driveline. For those who don't know, the driveline is like the power cord that comes out of the body to power the device that's been installed in the heart. So the power cord comes out of the body or the drive line and hooks up to a little computer, and then hooks up to your power supply, either 2 batteries or you can plug it into the wall, as Shawn, I'm sure, has told you many times. The Driveline Protector did a great job of protecting people's driveline. So that's how we started. Then the idea for the undervest, I just wanted people to be hands-free. I was called into the emergency room, and the patient at the time was complaining that when he goes out, he has to go to the bathroom out. There's nowhere to put the bag. He has to. He said, at home I have a hook that I can just hook it up to the wall.
And then a lot of us, the drive line is too short, and of course you don't want to put it on the floor because it's a bathroom floor.
Exactly. So I started thinking. Had another young man come in. You know all of these patients. Another young man came in the emergency room, got up in the middle of the night the next night. He was a young guy. He was sleeping, and he turned in the bed, and his bag and the drive line went in the other direction, and his pump stopped. And of course, it started alarming and everything. He came to the emergency room. When I got there, he was in complete terror. He was afraid he was going to die. And, I said, we got to do something about this. So the idea of the shirt came about to help people be hands-free, right? So you can just move around without worrying about the bag, to evenly distribute the weight of the equipment. So, because after a while, and you have that bag on year after year, it kind of weighs you down to some degree.
Yeah,
I had a lot of people who had
this muscle's real strong right now.
right. And then the other thing was, being able to go to the bathroom, like,
Mhm.
just pull your pants down, you go to the bathroom. Um, Sleeping. So
Mhm.
you can sleep with the undervest. We designed it specifically so that you don't need the batteries or that bag in the bed with you. You can just have your controller in the pocket here, and the patient cable that goes um, to the transformer or to the power pack is 6 feet long. It just comes out of one of well, you have it on now, but it comes out of one of the openings in the Velcro. So
Yeah.
you can sleep in either direction. It's no trouble. You
And
don't have to
so
worry about
that's
your wires getting tangled.
the two. So everybody, I, I want y'all to see what he's talking about. I am wearing an undervest right now,
My
and it
man.
separates into two sections where there's a pocket. So I put this lens on for you today. There's a pocket for my controller, and it's
Cool.
separated. And then your wires go into this part, and then there's a pocket for my batteries. And you put one battery on each side, and it distributes your weight a lot evenly. It just makes it not as awkward throughout the day. Um, the two main uses I use it for, going to the gym, because it's a whole lot easier to work out. You don't have to worry about your drive line catching on anything. Everything's it's hard to do any kind of working out with one side heavier than the
Right.
other.
Right.
So
Right.
it gets all that together. If I know I'm going to be doing a lot of walking, I'll take it with me, or sleeping, because no matter how I'm sleeping, as long as the cord is coming out of the front here, I can roll over in any direction and not pull anything.
Hmm. Now you notice, Shawn, there are gaps in the Velcro on either side, so you know where the tabs are on the left
Yeah,
and right.
yeah.
So if you
There's a
feel up
little,
under, there's a gap right
right here.
there. So that gap is where, if you, depending on what side you sleep on, you can have the cord come through that gap.
Hmm.
Um, so it solved a lot of problems that my patients were telling me. I, of course, do not have an LVAD, but I was able to learn from you, what you got, what you needed, what was
Right.
comfortable. I remember when you tried it out once when we first got it started, and you wanted to see if you could drive with it. So we went. He took me on a ride with the with his shirt on, and we were driving around. He didn't have to worry about that bag and all of that. So that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, because driving, when you're driving, you got that bag and it's sitting on your arm right here.
Hmm.
You know, we from the South. We like to.
Right.
And
Right.
you can't whip it right with sometimes that bag
Right.
hits you.
So I wanted my friends, you guys to be comfortable. So when you look on the website, all of the people who I have who are wearing the device are actual friends of mine who are patients at my institution, and all of them help me. Uh, you know, like, oh yeah, so that's my buddy right there. He and his wife. Well, it's not HIPAA. They're friends of mine. The Cresses, uh, they actually were very involved with the design of it.
Mhm.
So I would come up with one design, take it over to his house, and they say, "Okay, John, we like this, we don't like that. Do this, do that," and uh, and so we got it to where it is now.
Yeah, yeah, and I love the fact that I know when you were first starting this, you came to me and asked me that I want to test it out for you, and
Hmm.
I just love that I have input in a product that I feel that helps so many others.
Yeah, yeah. What's great about the undervest? Well, first of all, I'm blessed to even have come up with it, and to be able to actually do it, and sell it. And over the past 4 years, it's done pretty well as far as those people who actually have purchased one and use it. Um, and uh, I've gotten so many reviews and people calling me up and sending me emails telling me how it's changed their lives and how it's helped them, and that's very gratifying. What I'd like to do, and what I'm in the process of trying to do, is to have more people in the LVAD community be aware of the undervest. And it's not cheap. It's a lot less expensive than a lot of these other um, uh, LVAD vests and shirts that are out there today. Um, but we want to get it to a point where you can go to your hospital or your third party provider and use your insurance to pay for the
Mm-hmm.
shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a process that we're working on my end, and hopefully within the next uh, 6 to 7 months we'll have that in place in different parts of the country.
Yeah, I really would, as a patient, I would be able to appreciate that. Like,
Hmm.
as an LVAD patient, and those who are LVAD patients know that all of this comes with equipment.
Hmm.
And if I were able to start my LVAD journey out with the vest, then that would help, and I think that would help a lot of people because it's a big thing when you're put to the position of knowing you need something like an LVAD. One of the
Hmm.
first things that comes to you is, am I going to have the same quality of life?
Right.
you know
Right.
and this vest helps me with, yes, it makes my little midsection look a little bit bigger,
Mhm.
but that's something me personally I need to work on anyway. But what it gives you, the freedom that it gives you, it was like, so when I had my surgery I had to get used to what my new normal was,
Hmm.
and at that time
Right.
my new normal was rocking the bag. And then
Right.
when you showed me this, I saw that my normal could be a little bit different.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know,
And that
I'm
was the
not
whole
one.
point.
Yeah, and then some people, I wasn't one, but some people are. Well, no, I'm lying. Let me take that back. I was a little bit subconscious about the bag
Hmm.
until I figured out, different ways of freaking in, getting other bags and whatever,
Right.
which is a
Right.
whole
Right.
journey,
Right.
which
Right.
didn't have to be what it needed to be if I would have had
Right.
this from the beginning.
Right. So the interesting thing about that is at our institution, we were in the process of making it available to all of you at Centera, and it was championed by one of our cardiothoracic surgeons. All the nurses that you may know, um, they all wanted it. It was going through the process, and then somebody said, "Oh, well, he works for Centera. We can't buy anything from him because it's a conflict of interest,"
Uh,
which is ridiculous.
right,
If
right.
if I had the cure for cancer, you mean our patients couldn't get the cure for cancer because I work here? I mean, it was really a silly argument. Um, I haven't fought them on it because um, I need to be able to uh, continue to do what I'm doing
Mhm.
without wasting time with them. When Duke or Inova or any of our competition are offering the LVAD shirts to their patients,
Mhm.
I'm sure they're going to come to me and tell me, well, it wasn't a conflict of interest at all. So,
Yeah, and if you
uh,
get put on with the insurance company, they don't have no say so in it anyway.
so the way that would work is a lot of the equipment that um, you would order, like if we would order new batteries for you or anything like that, if you
Mhm.
have Medicare, then we would supply that equipment, right? Which means that we have to purchase it, right?
Mhm.
So it will be the same thing with the LVAD shirt. So there is a billing code for, LVAD vests and LVAD shirts, which my shirt falls under. The undervest falls under that criteria. So any hospital will be able to um, uh, apply for reimbursement from the insurance companies or Medicare because the shirt it has a medical billing code.
Mhm.
But again, with Centera, because I work there, they came up with this whole thing. But that doesn't stop me from doing it anywhere else,
Mhm.
and that's exactly what we're in the process of doing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. I really like mine. And I feel like I have a vested interest in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen, um, I you know, we're not going to become millionaires with this, right? That was never the purpose. Of course, we want to make money and we want the business to pay for itself. It's getting to the point where it's paying for itself, which is
Mhm.
great, and I'm no longer coming out of my pocket to pay for everything as often, which is very good. but we really want to get it to the point where it's self-sustaining, and that we get orders and people are able to use their insurance rather than coming out of their pocket, because it's not cheap. We started off with our pricing very low,
Mhm.
um, and that was because of me personally, because I knew all of you guys personally, and I didn't want to add more trouble to an already uncomfortable situation with this LVAD. You know, money is always an issue with people, so we kept our our margin as low as possible, to help. Um, and then when COVID hit, we had a, I think we dropped the prices 20%, 20 or 30% for COVID all of 2020, and going to the beginning of 2021 for the same reason.
Mhm.
We're not necessarily in it to, get money from people. We're really in it so that we can help people. Um, but it's still a business, and so we've had to approach it from a different angle now. So again, the main thrust for this year, and hopefully by 2022, we will have it available with many hospitals who have heart programs around the country, God willing.
Yeah. As a patient, it is absolutely great.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Let's get more people to, hopefully more people will see this podcast and take a look at it and just try it out. I think it'll help a lot of people. Now, the undervest is situational. For instance, many women, especially younger women, who want to show off their figures,
Hmm.
it, the undervest is not a good thing for you, right? Because it sits around your midsection
But I
where
think it's situational for everybody, and it's all
well,
about
yeah,
having the
yeah,
choice. Because
right.
all the time, I don't wear it all the time,
Mhm.
but there's certain situations where I definitely am going to wear it. You know.
Right, and I feel the same way about those people who are concerned about their figure. Like you said, if you're in the gym, you know, okay, you want to be cute, but if you're working out or you're home doing housework,
Right.
use
Right.
the
Yeah.
use the shirt,
Hmm.
be hands free, and there's a time to be cute, and then there's a time that that's not quite as important.
Hmm.
Uh, and I still encourage people to use other type of methods to be comfortable. There's some people that use the football girdle. I think that's a
Hmm.
great idea,
Hmm.
right? And people say, well, John, why don't you come up with a similar thing? It's like, no, why would I? Look, you can get a
It's
football girdle
already
for
a thing,
you can
right?
get it for $15. I mean, if I make it and go through the whole trouble, you have to pay me $150. It's like, no,
Right.
just use the football. But again, that's situational as well.
Mhm.
Um, so, but I'm a little excited about some of the things that we're going to be doing. We're going to right now we've been exclusively um, targeting our LVAD community because of course, my experience with you and others.
Right.
But we're going to go into the whole wellness industry with CBD and other products that will, I think, help people's quality of life. I'm
Mhm.
interested in the LVAD community's quality of life. That's the whole point of the Driveline Protector and the undervest. But I'm also interested in all of us having an improved quality of life, being more pain free. I've been using CBD for the past couple of years, and I can tell you it's made a difference.
Mhm.
I'm an old man with my normal inflammation and aches and pains and arthritis and everything. But there are lifestyle changes. There are products out there. There are natural products that can help you feel better, look better, and live longer. And particularly with the LVAD community, with all of the different medications you guys have to take and all the different, just having an LVAD. I mean, you can tell people better than me the level of like worry that's always on you because of the LVAD, and being free from having to, deal with extra things to make your life difficult. So
Mhm.
we're going to get into uh, providing more products that will help improve your quality of life.
Yes. And I'm excited to see it come. I'm very
Mm.
excited to see it come. My I think it's funny that like my kids, like my son, he's 10,
Mm.
so he's in that little in between where I kind of want to be a kid, kind of want to be a teenager age, right?
Right. Right.
but he watches himself. If he sees and looks around and sees that I have my vest on, he won't try me as much as he will. He knows I'm just a little bit more mobile.
Right. Right. That's funny.
And so it's
That's
small
funny.
little things like that
Hmm.
that definitely
Hmm.
make the undervest worth it.
Yeah. That's good. It's good to hear. It's
Yeah,
good to
man.
hear. You know, it's all look. It's always gratifying to hear people tell me how it helps them, because that was really the goal, and I'm always happy to hear that. That's cool.
So what we're
Even
gonna
little things
have
like
to
that.
do, we're gonna
Uh,
have to get you to give us an undervest, and one of my upcoming lives, we will
mhm.
give it to LVAD patient. You
Right.
down?
So, all right. I'll tell you what. We can do that. Um, I might sweeten it and make it a couple.
Okay,
Why not?
let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And while we do,
Anytime you want.
and, look, and while we at it, I could take another one.
That's a bet. I got you covered.
Could never have too many.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So, you know, speaking to that, I did want to say something. I already mentioned how I used to, send people to other LVAD shirt companies or people that are doing it. Let me tell you why. The main reason why I kind of would advise people to look at the undervest more is because of what we had in mind with it. A lot of these shirts are just shirts that have pockets sewn in, and you just, you put the stuff in. So all of your wires are still exposed. They can still get snagged on and things like that. And some people are comfortable with that. I totally get it. But with the undervest, everything that you load the undervest from the inside, so all of your wires and everything are inside. Now, one of the things that people are having trouble with, and is driveline infections.
Mm-hmm.
You got a wire coming out of your body, and at that point, it's very susceptible to infection. So the idea is that if the wire and your drive line are close to your body, it moves with your body. So there's no pulling on the drive line wound site.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you can minimize the amount of drive line infections um, overall. But for the individual, you can reduce the risk of receiving a drive line infection because all of the wires are moving with your body.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these other shirts, they load from the outside. So the drive line is coming up from under the shirt and then into pockets on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
With the undervest, as you can see, all of your wires are inside. Now that was a big deal because people have to use, and all of your LVAD people know this. A lot of them have to use the Foley anchors or
Mm-hmm.
these adhesive tape
I
anchors.
have one on now.
Right. No, you don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Take it off
Okay.
because all of your equipment is secured in the pouch. So even though they're in each individual pocket, all of those pockets are in a bigger, larger pouch. So even if they came out of the pockets, it would fall into the pouch and not hit the floor, and it still would never pull on your wound site.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need those anchors
Which
anymore.
a lot of people don't realize, if you have a pull on your wound site, that can lead to infection.
That's right.
I
That's
know
right.
it's happened to me more than once,
Uh-huh.
and it's just been a hard, a minus little pull, but
Right.
you'll feel it and
Oh
you'll
yeah.
snag,
Yeah.
and yeah, it will lead to an infection, and then now you
Hmm.
got antibiotics. It doesn't feel good. It stinks.
Hmm.
You don't want to
Yeah.
go down that
Yeah.
road.
No, you do not. And so, and for a lot of people, you're rare because with a lot of people, that adhesive tape, it irritates the skin and to
Well,
the point where
okay,
it
so
tears
it did
skin.
at one time, and that's why I
Uh-huh.
stopped wearing it, and that's how
Hmm.
I got the pull. But at the same time, I wasn't wearing my vest, so yeah, there you
So
have
the
it.
moral of the story is wear your vest and don't use the anchors anymore. Exactly. Yeah. Um, so it's all those kind of things. And then another thing that happens is, so we've been selling the undervest for 4 years now, and we have customers all over the country, and we even have some international customers, which is great. Um, but a lot of people don't know how to load it. So I'm glad you showed the page where it demonstrates how to load the undervest. That is on the website. So anyone who's interested in ordering it, on that same page where you're picking out the shirt that you want, the size that you want, there's another little blurb that says something to the effect how to load the undervest. You can click that, and it's a PDF that shows you step by step how to load the undervest. And it works for any LVAD, whether you have the HeartMate 2 or 3 or the HeartWear device. Even the Jarvik, I had a patient who had a Jarvik LVAD. They actually used it as well. There you go.
Yeah. It takes like one good time to learn how to put it on, and then you're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
And again, yeah, this whole front piece right here, it does a lot. So there's a real thing about driveline trauma, not meaning the injury, driveline trauma to the brain. Because there's a certain cabinet in my house that I still to this day won't walk past because it snagged me up real good one time.
Yeah.
So this goes a lot towards your just being secure during the day, your peace of mind.
Right.
And when
you're always worried about, when you're always worried about, so you guys were coming to the clinics years ago, and I can see the stress. You know, some of my patients, well, you're always a cool customer, but there were many who, you know, they were just, you know, constantly stressed out because of, you know, what was going on in their lives. And I used to really feel bad. And so this is just my little attempt to, you know, help de-stress your life.
Yeah, I got a friend, SJ, she's in California. I'm really scared what she would do if she had one of these because she's like trying to jump out of planes and everything.
You should. Look, that's what life is about, man. You need go ahead, jump out that plane. You know, one of our LVADers did that. You know, around the same time that you got yours. He's a Navy guy, a young guy, and he sent us a picture. If you go to the clinic, you ask them if they show you the picture, but he sent us a picture with him, you know, jumping out of the plane, and he got the guy on his back, you know, and he's smiling and grinning, you know, falling out of space. And he did that right after he got his LVAD.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Do whatever.
Nah, I keep these feet on the ground and out of the water for right now.
I hear you.
John, I want to thank you for coming through and having this conversation with me. Again, this is going to be cross-played on both of the platforms. You'll be able to hear this conversation and watch on LVADtalk.com and the 757renaissanceman.com. Both platforms, you're welcome to come by, leave us a message, tell us what you want to hear, tell us what you didn't like, tell us what you did like, leave us a voicemail, and click that little buy me a coffee icon on the bottom and help with production and letting us bring this content to you. John,
I'm buy you some coffee.
Yeah, buy me some coffee. Buy me a vest.
Thanks for having me, brother.
No problem, man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to LVAD Talk and the 757 Renaissance Man. I'm Shawn. That's John. My dog is snoring, and we are out.
Peace.
Peace.